Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and I'm so happy that today we have taken up a topic which is very relevant and it is going to help almost all of us because post COVID, the world moves in a different phase with different expectations, and then being a good communicator, if you are working in a store or if you are dealing with your clients who start noticing something different in you because of your mask or because of your special care to maintain social distancing, let that not cause an unpleasant experience or some violent outcome as we have seen. So today we thought we'll talk about the basics of communication as well as communication with specific reference to the new ambience that we are going to be living in. And I have distinct pleasure and honor of welcoming first Sanjay Saraswati from Jaipur, who has taught multiple generations of students communication skills. I also have Dr. Nitin joining us, and he is also a psycho-spiritual counselor, and both of them are going to help us navigate this maze of being a good communicator with specific reference to the current conditions. So I begin with you with a basic question, Sanjay ji. Uh, Tell me, who is a good communicator as per you?
Very beautiful question, Ashokji. I must congratulate you because this is something where exactly my quality that I am upfront about my intentions, that what I want exactly. I want to be by the side of a solution or I want to be by the side of a problem. So it is a journey which starts from inside, first of all, and then I would be a good communicator in the public.
So there are two sides: side of the problem, side of the solution. That is one way, and we'll come back to this. But Nitin ji, going towards the psychological side, is communication always aimed at arriving at some solution? As human beings, we just, we just like to communicate. Many people talk without having anything to say. So tell me about the need of communication also, along with what Sanjay ji said.
So beautifully said by Sanjay ji. And I would just like to add one thing that communication is all about clarity and clarity inside and clarity outside. So it's about being clear inside and then bringing that clarity on the table and creating a clarity. And that clarity at times is called a discussion, and sometimes it's an argument, or sometimes it's a consensus.
So we talk about clarity; it becomes an integral part of communication. Uh, so do we work on it consciously, Sanjay ji, or clarity is something which is like obvious that you are a human being and you have this objective to sort of fulfill, and so clarity is just in your pocket. So consciously developing clarity, is that a need that you have observed among most of your students?
Ashokji, allow me to use an analogy for that. It's just like exactly learning how to drive a car. In starting, you have to do it consciously, changing the gear, pressing the clutch, leaving your gas pedal. But once it gets actually trained into your muscle memory, so it's so natural. So the same thing comes with the communication also. Like I have to first of all develop it consciously, the clarity inside. That's why I use the expression that I must be upfront about my intentions. So I'm so clear about that. And once exactly consciously I start doing it, it's a practice part because our whole life is practice, practice, practice only. Then it becomes so natural that once I start communicating to the world outside, that's my interpersonal communication. So it becomes in a natural way so clear always.
Absolutely beautiful. Now, Nitinji, there are multiple ways of communicating. Words play an important role indeed. But then, let's say I take an example. If you're driving and you have a driver who is very rash behind you, and he keeps on honking, and that results into some sort of exchange which is not just unpleasant, but it could turn to be violent. So now the question is, there are various ways of communication. Uh, And clarity again we bring into picture. It is not uh, it is not easy for many people to maintain the focus what they are there for. I mean, people just fight for things which are meaningless many times. So talk to me a little bit about this side of working on being clear about one's role.
Uh, as I said, clear. So that brings the psychology of communication, because communication is not just uttering out words. It's about how you choose those words. So it has got a lot to do with your mental makeup, your attitude, and the equilibrium that you're able to create within yourself. So it is all in total called communication. Unfortunately, most of the times people think of communication as just the words spoken out. It is just a tip of the iceberg. It is what you see. But there's a lot goes inside before you start uttering those words out. And that is actually the communication. So how peaceful you are inside, how stable you are inside, that will govern how polished your conversation is going to be. There can be odd events where you're just polished outside, you have practiced things, and you can be very calm, though you may be inside very disturbed, but that will not last long. If you see a person communicating for 24 hours and the person is stable, polished, that means it is coming from us an equilibrium of emotions inside. So your communication is totally connected to your EQ, how beautifully emotionally balanced you are. A person who is not beautifully emotionally balanced will never be able to have a very good communication. So being a communicator, you need to be very good at emotional quotient.
So emotional question brings us to another side which relates to mental health. We are not going there right now, but Sanjay ji, there must have been students in your life or in your class. Some of them were not very articulate in terms of their command over language, but you must have noticed that they are good good communicators. They have people surrounding them, and they are sort of center of any gathering. So there is a difference in terms of our ability to speak well, to articulate, and to have something. So if you know what I'm trying to understand, so there is this space which relates to probably body language or something more. Please, I think once you mentioned about intrapersonal, so
And
let's take that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Ashokji, I must congratulate you once again for that, because it's not vocabulary, it's not exactly that articulation, it's not about exactly your language, like Shakespearean language or the language of Magh or Kalidas in Sanskrit. It's more to do with exactly the same intrapersonal. It means what actually I want from every situation in my life. I'm interacting with you. So, what I want. So, ultimate aim is happiness, that enjoyment. So, when it is so clear in my mind, what exactly I'm borrowing it from the Nitinji's part of that exactly narration he was making. So, when this clarity is there in my mind, that either I'm washing my dress or my utensils or I'm talking to you, I feel it's all part of my communication within me. That's I call then ajay, a journey inwards always. So now, when I go to a mall and I interact with a guy who's exactly just disturbed because of lot of social distancing and lots of other problems, I just enjoy that, and I just try to understand because I put myself in his or her shoes. Because my actual clarity in my mind is I want happiness. So I'll be always clear. So even my words may not be so powerful, my English may not be so effective, it may not be exactly aristocratic English, but people will actually enjoy my communication. They'll enjoy my company. And this is what exactly I feel the sole purpose of the whole humanity and the progress all around.
I think he made a very, very significant point, and I want to compliment, or rather, I want to express my happiness on learning about the significance of happiness. But Nitinji, it is not easy to be happy, man. You have n number of problems. You are dealing with multiple challenges and pressures and expectations, etc. So, uh, to be happy with oneself, if that becomes an integral part of communication, then we are in for a big learning, big time learning. So, we'll come back to specific aspects of communication, but this brings me to request you to share how anybody, when I say anybody, meaning wide range of situations, uh, can can even think, and he might even question the idea that, oh, I cannot be happy. I mean, I don't have this, I don't have this, etc. Talk to us on that.
So it reminds me of a very famous Shai's one share. So he says that हादसों के डर से क्या मुस्कुराना छोड़ दें, जल्जलों के खौफ से क्या घर बनाना छोड़ दें.
फिर से कहें, फिर
तो
से कहें.
हादसों के डर से क्या मुस्कुराना छोड़ दें,
हम्म.
जल्जलों के खौफ से क्या घर बनाना छोड़ दें.
क्या बात है भाई.
So again we have to decide one thing, and this is again the communication within. What I see as problems are actually the learning schools of life. So life is actually training me up, and that is how the communication within takes place. So if I see more reasons not to smile, that means the inner communication of mine is faulty. And every time my inner communication is faulty, it is going to take me away from happiness. Situations can trouble me. Situations can just make me feel unsettled for few moments, but they can never take away my happiness, because my happiness is not supposed to be situation bound. I am happy because I am alive, and that is something what is the real inner communication.
I'm happy because I'm alive, and I'm also happy because you are with me. When I say you, of course, I'm talking about viewers, but I'm not just talking about viewers. I'm also talking about Sanjay ji and Nitin ji. So, but that brings me to another side, Sanjay ji, which is the dialogue that we have with ourselves that makes us happy or unhappy many times. And when you talk about communication skills, do you also pay attention to this aspect of inner dialogue, like how you communicate with yourself? And is it possible to work on changing the pattern which one has developed over a period of many years where they practice on it? So before I let you speak, let me also kind of in a jovial manner. So there are husbands, they have certain dialogues about their wives that keeps on ringing. There are certain wives, they have certain dialogues that keep on ringing. And if you ask them to change it, they say, come on, you don't know him or you don't know her. So take over.
Nice, Ashokji. Exactly. This is what how we start our training with. To start with, exactly. First of all, we tell our people. We call them members. We don't call them students exactly. So we call it a family. So here comes exactly the first part first. So first thing first, exactly. We say, okay, look at your attitude. If you allow me to speak that small word in Hindi, then it's your drishtikon, because exactly that it proves it very clearly, because it is the angle. Actually, you're looking at anything. So if I look at something from that angle, that is my attitude. So first of all, we say, okay, you check your attitude. You're talking to somebody, you're not talking to somebody. You're keeping silence, you're doing something, you're not doing something. So once you start checking your attitude, exactly how you look at the things, so that generates actually your feelings. And these feelings actually they generate your thoughts. And the thoughts now generate my words. Word is also action. I'm speaking, it's an action. Or I do something, that's not an action. If you allow me again to speak in Hindi, it's my karma. So I speak, that's my karma. Or if I go and slap somebody, it's again my karma. So see, when my inner that attitude, my drishtikon, my angle is so clear that I want happiness. This is my ultimate. Either I do drugs or I go and help somebody who is doing drugs. In both the situations, what I want happiness. So see, it's so simple. It's not a rocket science. A drunkard also needs happiness. A thief also needs happiness. So when you need happiness, so now that attitude, the way you look at the things is so clear. So we work from the very first day. We say, okay, start looking at your attitude, what you want. And then they develop their thoughts. And based on these thoughts, because now they are actually backed up by the right attitude, the attitude is what you want. I want job because happiness. I want to talk to you because happiness. So when it is so clear, so what happens? Even my words become so clear, even my actions they become so clear, and I don't think anything can now snatch this happiness away from me because now it's not remote controlled by outer situations. See, because if it is remote controlled by outer situations, then my attitude actually is not governing my thoughts. Then situation, anything outside happening is controlling my thoughts. No, it's another way around. It's starting from inside. My attitude is, okay, I want happiness. So I go to my mother, I say, okay, you are angry with me. Okay, I hug her, I give a tight hug. I say, okay, sorry, okay, sorry. So my smile, my hug,
Okay, so
it
now
can be my wife, it can be.
I'll interrupt you with due apology, and let's say I am your
Yeah.
mother. No, I'm not. Because the mother, if you give tight hug, she slaps you. Then what happens? What happens to your happiness?
Yes,
So,
yes.
see
It,
what
it,
happens
it
is
did happen
okay. So
beautifully. It did happen with me. Once my mother, she got exactly very angry with me because of my one bad statement. Actually, I used a bad statement and she got very angry. And when I came back from institution, exactly, she said, sorry, I don't want to talk to you. So I went exactly and I gave her a tight hug and she slapped me because exactly this hug actually suffocated her. So because I'm stronger. So exactly, and she couldn't exactly put up with that. So she slapped me, and the moment she slapped me, because inside my clarity was very clear. I wanted to exactly please her and myself. I said, okay, sorry, but please. And she also started weeping. Now, these tears were exactly the tears of happiness, and it all melted away. So
wonderful.
I feel this is how hard anybody tries. I think we all are human beings. We are not machines.
So indeed, we are not machines. That is clear. But even though we say that do not give your remote control in other person's hand, we end up giving because when we want to be happy, our happiness is dependent on XYZ thing happening in XYZ fashion. When that doesn't happen, we try that it happens, and that attempt when is not successful, it takes it takes away even the amount of happiness which we have already accumulated. So again, Nitinji, if you want to clarify something, because you have also come across many people, however easy it is when you hear that do not let your happiness depend on anybody. It is dependent. What can I do? So, in the situations where you have encountered it, experienced it, and you are suffering because of it, the the way to change your inner dialogue is there any technique or trick that you can suggest?
The uh, most effective technique is alert by awareness technique. So, rather, I must say it is the only technique, but you have to be more alert about it. First of all, I totally agree with you that because we are living in a world where we are interdependent. So, when we are interdependent, unknowingly we will keep giving our remotes to each other. But now, here comes the catch. How much of the control is going to remain with others, and how much of that control I can take back? And that is the journey. That is the journey called resolving my own life to evolve. So we can evolve from a child to an adult in emotions also, adulthood in emotions. So, what kind of an emotional adulthood I have attained, I have to ask myself. Because there are so many people who never attain adulthood in emotions. They remain a kid. So when I say a kid, they may be very pure emotionally, but they never mature emotionally. So when they never mature emotionally, what actually do not learn is how to take that control back, at least in some quotient. So we can always practice emotional maturity by being aware, and that will bring the control back to us.
Emotional maturity, now that comes another term, and how that fits into overall understanding of having a good communication skill set. Sanjay ji, do you see emotions are so significant? Because many times we look at communication skills, I mean, technically we just see that these are the words. If he's speaking in Hindi, English, or whatever language, he can frame sentences so that what his intent is gets conveyed, and that's it. No, he brought emotional also angle, emotions. How do you see that when we in the classroom setting are talking about communication skill? Do you take this into account too?
Yes, very much, Ashokji. Actually, the people like the word professional. Today, in the like in the training session, I was going online, and there was a producer director. Exactly, he's been in the Bollywood for the last 30 years, and there's a banker and there's a judge, and both all of them exactly. I gave a situation, and they said, "Oh, he's money minded." So another one said, "He's very professional." So immediately I said, "What do you mean by professional?" And there was a group of about 45 people, and all of them they said, "Professional is not a very good word." I said, "Sorry, we people are mistaken about the word professional." So this exactly I would like to quote here also.
Absolutely.
People actually they have mistaken the communication only just like a framing a structure, sentence, or beautifying your sentence. Now, even if I speak a beautifully studied language, it won't touch your heart because it won't give happiness to me inside because I know I'm faking it. So actually, what we tell people, we say, okay, first of all, check inside. So every time our session goes, we say, go inside, check first of all what actually you need, what you want. And that's why exactly I would again repeat the same thing. It is a journey from inside. Then it'll bring your thoughts. So it is actually not emotionally that the foolery of the people or exactly making or faking things. No, it is actually, even if I am acting, so that emotion comes. That's why exactly when the hero speaks some statement, some dialogue, people say, yeah, it touches us. So how Nana Patekar becomes so touching, how Irfan becomes so touching. This is the same thing we do in our life. And see, now exactly here I would like to add one thing, what Nitinji was saying to your previous question. See, unnecessary thoughts, they are just like spam, the garbage. And the technique is just observe your thoughts, they will settle down. Because all thoughts actually they take life and the energy from us only. So when I'm going to communicate with you, if actually I have just observed my thoughts, even if a thought comes up, I observe it, but it's a practice. We keep doing it, and then by and by, it becomes so calm, settled, and composed that either stage or mic or camera or real life, it becomes so easy always. And this is practically we have done in the last 30 years, sir, with the people.
Wonderful. So I think communication we consider to be a simple thing, and when you sit with communication experts, you feel that it is simple, yet it is not that simple. When I say not that simple, because I would consider the words like empathy also, and as an integral part of being a good communicator, and emotional equilibrium or emotional maturity also. Now, in the last few minutes that we have, I request both of you, when we are faced with different circumstances, we need to fine tune the way we communicate. So, post COVID, with respect to our interaction either at workplace or with people if we go to a shopping mall or wherever. Would you like to give some additional pointers for extra awareness, because it's a new world that you are imbibing, Nitinji?
First of all, if time permits, I would like to add few things to it. Number one, it is absolutely essential to divide communication in two parts. One is a trained, practiced communication that you can do for certain time, and second is your innate communication. So for the innate communication, as Sanjay ji said, you need an absolute attitude transformation. You need awareness. You need to cleanse yourself. You need to take care of your emotions. You need to be very clear inside your head. But as far as communication in small parts is concerned, that can be very easily trained. If you can train up that much, you anybody can go on stage and for 5 minutes can give a very good speech just by practicing it or being aware for those 5 minutes. So that is something which can be trained very easily. So the one thing which we can do is right now, after the COVID thing, when we go out, as the lockdowns get over, we have to start getting used to the new normal. And the new normal is that the things are changing. And people, a lot of people are going to be distressed. A lot of people may not be able to cope up with this change. So, what are we going to do to make it easier for the people? Number one, can we smile more? Number
Yes.
two, can we have more patience? Number three, can we avoid arguments? Number four, can we always reach consensus? And the easiest way to reach a consensus is to agree to disagree. So I think that's a very easy manual we can adopt, and by adopting it, we can sort out 50% of the problems at least.
Wonderful. I think you made some significant points, and Sanju Bhaiya, Sanjay Saraswat same question for you. Any pointers or
Uh,
tips? Yeah.
Definitely. I would like to repeat my same thing. Very clear. First thing first, and that is exactly, of course, it's a very difficult situation for him you are going to meet and for you as well. So just put yourself in his shoes and see. Now, the patience will come automatically, but if it loses, please, one loses, another one bears up. Second thing, smiling, it comes naturally because you want to be a part of solution. Please soothe others, because if you ask anybody, everybody would say, I want to soothe others. I want to do something for others. Rather, they say, I have been doing for others. So just this time, something extra you do by a smile. So even if he's not smiling, you smile something
So,
extra.
so please,
Third thing, this is
please forgive me. Just 10 seconds. We have to wind up. Yeah. Uh,
yeah. And the third thing, exactly, this is something which is everyone can do. I am an extraordinary contribution to the society. So decide how are you there.
Wonderful. So, how are you there? You have to decide. But I think one thing which I would uh, repeat is smile. So, I seek smiles from Sanjay ji and Nitin ji both. And as we fold our hands and we pray for smooth transition to a new norm that all of us are going to be a part of. So, once again, thanking Nitin Saraswat ji and thanking Sanjay Saraswat ji, both of them communication experts, joining me from Jaipur. This is a show with lots and lots of good wishes and lots of smiles moving towards success and joy.